Hello friends, Matt here. And recently, Prodigy came out with a new putter called the Pivot. They all came out in these cool NHL team logo stamps. I went with a Minnesota Wild because it looks cool. I don't really watch hockey. I don't know these teams, but the color, not ideal for finding sometimes, but cool logo, so I thought I'd get that one. And looking at the profile, it made me think a lot of their most popular putter, the PA3. I have a fractal PA3 right here, and if you take a look at that profile, they are fairly similar, especially that bottom part. I'm not totally convinced that that bottom wing might not be the same, but as you'll see on the Pivot, it's a little shallower and has a more sloped top right here, a little more sloping outer edge, which would make me think that it might be a little bit less stable than a PA3. So I took mine to the field to compare, as well as a few shots on some different courses, and let's check those out. But I gotta say that the plastic it's rigid, it's not very flexible, it's fairly grippy. It does not feel quite as nice as, like, this is like a fractal 300 type plastic. I like the feel of this a little bit better, but it does feel pretty good. It grips pretty well. It's not offensive in any way, but I do prefer the slightly grittier plastic that you would get from the 300 rather than whatever. I don't really know what this is. Some kind of hybrid blend that I've never seen from Prodigy before. So let's check out the throws. So this is just a 220-foot shot to the practice basket at Etowah. Chucking the PA3 out there, comes back perfect right where I want it. Giving the Pivot about the same line, and it glides a little bit past and on the left side, but overall, not a bad spot. Trying them out on the cave. Pivot glides up there, a little bit short of where I'd like to be, but still easy putt for the birdie. Trying it out with the PA3, and I just needed a little bit more juice on that one. It does not have the distance. Over to hole 2 at Deerfield, giving that PA3 a slight anhyzer, and it just rattles up under the basket. Similar line with the Pivot, but glides a little bit long, still in the circle on the left side. Over to hole 6, giving that PA3 a little bit of hyzer, fades just enough and checks up right by the basket. Trying the same line with the Pivot. Get a little too inside with it. It was going to be long and left, though. It's got a good bit more glide than the PA3. On hole 8, I'm trying this force over backhand and get it pin high with the PA3, but it never turns up, even though I gave it a pretty decent amount of width. Same throw with the Pivot. It does the line perfectly, but if you know this hole, the OB is right behind it, and this one is well out of bounds. Trying this little forehand line at Lake Ridge. Pivot flips up and rides better than I thought it would do forehand, but it's way long and left of the basket. The PA3 was just going to be just left, but hits that little tree and knocks it straight down. So out of the practice basket at Gatewood, just trying to figure out how far these things will go. Nice straight flight with the PA3, plops down about 265. And you see that Pivot just turns up, it flips and rides. That's about 330, maybe a little bit more. And this one, trying to give it the line to go towards the practice basket on a full yeet, and that one was about 265, 270 as well. And I really thought this one was going to come back. I gave it a little bit of hyzer, but it keeps holding the turn and almost hit Alan over there. Sorry, Alan. So as you can see, the PA3, it'll penetrate pretty good, does not have a ton of glide. It just drops, and the fade it's got some fade, but it's not super sharp. It kind of is like a floating forward fade, but not a bad throwing disc, not tons of distance. Even ripping out in the field at Gatewood, 260, 270 was about as far as I could get it. The Pivot, on the other hand, is a little bit less stable and has some pretty serious glide. When you hit it hard, it'll flip up and ride, go a pretty long way. And I've been kind of enjoying these throws with it. There are some throws that I would not attempt with it again, especially ones where you need it to get a little bit of hyzer, but when you're pushing straight, getting some good glide, it's a pretty fun thrower. So do I like it? Yes. Is it actually similar to a PA3? Not really. I guess wrong. But overall, I do think it's a pretty good throwing putter. Probably more like a PA5 but a little more stable. It's not as flippy as that. But if you've ever thrown a PA4, that's not really in between. This is really like if you had the PA5 and 3, that's what the PA4 I feel like should be, and not kind of what it is. But thank you guys for watching. Hope to see you in the next one. And if you're a hockey fan, get one of these guys. They're pretty cool.